Hello, welcome people to
hello.
Lifessa Lounge episode 3. First of all, I just want to thank everybody who has been watching our podcast and listening to our podcast over the last couple of weeks and watching our weekly video content. All of your feedback is much appreciated, so please keep them coming and keep supporting. Last week we spoke about goal setting, the importance of goal setting, and understanding your why. And this week we're going to be talking about why we should dream big and the importance of self-belief. So I think a good place to start is why. Why should we dream big?
Well, why wouldn't you? Is my view.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer that everybody, let's be honest, everybody in the world, to me, has a big dream. Nobody comes into this life, and whether it's from a young age or an old age, everybody has a big dream. Some people think about it in their quiet moments, some people are more vocal about it, but everybody for me has a big dream. And then what differentiates people is, do they actually act on it? But I think that everybody's got a dream, right? Because if you're not going to dream big for a purpose, then, I'm not being funny, but we weren't born to just get up, live a mediocre life and die. And I know happiness is different for different people, so your idea of your big dream differs between others, but my view is, why would you not dream big? It would seem like a waste of a life for you not to. Is my starting position
I think
on that.
I'll counter you and say that the reason why people don't dream big is because of fear. And most people their dreams scare them, so they dream big, their dreams turn to nightmares because they get scared of their dreams. So instead of I do agree when you say everyone does dream big. I think what stops people from dreaming big is fear.
No. They don't act to bring their big dream to life.
No,
they still have a dream.
They have a dream. Their dreams scare them, so they.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. But
so they don't act.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, everybody's got the big dream in the first place. So I think at an underlying point, any listener out there is like, I understand you, but they understand that big dreams are essential, but they start to ignore it in their own mind because they've kind of created their own limitations because of that fear. They have that fear of failure. And one of the reasons around dreaming big, it's essential to dream big, right? Because you cannot create limitations in your own life because of the limitation you create in your mind, which is those. You start to overanalyze, and this could go wrong and that could go wrong and other things could go wrong. The thing is, you can fail in keeping in your safety zone, right? So why would you not go for something big and at least fail aiming for something that you actually wanted to do in life than just not going for it at all?
Yeah, it's true.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
But and that's just I just feel that it's essential. I feel it's essential to have a big dream at the starting point, and like I say, I feel that everybody has them, and fear may hamper people and hold them back. But the bottom line is, you need to have that big dream, and then you go back to the topics we had last week around goal setting, and then you start to act on them. So I think the first part of there is just exactly that. Don't be afraid to actually believe that big dream that you've got in your mind, you can bring to life. Yes, there are going to be hurdles that you're going to face on the way, but you have to have that starting point, because the bottom line is, and I can't remember who says it, but I hear it on a lot of comments that come out, is that everything that was built in this world was built by humans, right? So at one point and another, there's no superhuman brain out there. Like, people are put into different situations where they become more intelligent in certain points and had more opportunities and stuff, but ultimately everything was built by people that are just humans, right? So we've all got almost a responsibility to dream big in the first place. So I just think that people, you can't, at the start of any journey, whatever you're aiming out to do, it has to be one of those, which is, when you say the fear, but it has to be big enough to scare you in the first place, right? Because if it's not big enough to scare you, then it's probably not big enough and worth going after. And the fear thing, I think, has just become, at some point in time, everybody who's actually pursuing on their big dream still looks like they're part of the overall crowd. It's not until you actually drum into what they're doing that they're quietly working away in the background and doing stuff because they have a big dream to excel out of here. I think the problem is when you look through society, it's so easy to just live in a mediocre state where you're like...
Well, this is what I was going to touch on is, do you think that it's society and the people that we hang around with and that forces us to live that mediocre life and not dream big? Do you think that can sometimes impact?
I think it can be like upbringing, people that your parents,
Yeah.
they put their own limitations on their children, and
Yeah.
that stops the children from dreaming big. Because every time the child wants to dream big, the parent goes, no, this is how it's supposed to be. This is the journey you're supposed to go on. So parents always say to your child, like African parents will say to your children, get your education,
Yeah.
get your university, and then get your job, and then you live a mediocre, ordinary life.
Yeah.
And they think that because they have their own fears and they put their own limitations on their children, and they think that's a safe way of going.
Yeah.
And my counter argument to that is that if you look at the world and the people that have done amazing things, usually they come from single parent homes or where parents haven't put that much limitation on their children, so they've been able to think big, and they've been able to think outside the box. It's usually when you have like parents or your friends or people in your social circle that do have their own fears and they put their fears on you, then you get those limitations.
I think that's 100% correct. Now I'm not going to tell anybody how to raise their kids. Yeah, I raise my kid how I choose fit, and I won't tell anybody else to do any differently. But I had a conversation just last night at dinner with my friend's missus, who their son is trying to be a footballer. He's had a few trials with Norwich and is at West Ham at the moment, and she's fearing if he doesn't make it, what's plan B? And it's putting the sort of limitations I felt on him that you may not make it here. And instead of him just focusing on that big dream of I'm going to be a footballer, this is what I'm going to do.
Sometimes you need that tunnel vision. That successful people, they have that. They're so driven. They have that tunnel vision that they don't. When people say, "Oh, you can't do this," they don't hear it. They black it out and they keep on going on that straight journey.
And if you're listening as well, like I get what she was saying, and I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. It's just looking at different sides of the spectrum. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's a bit so you've touched on some interesting points there. So we did the video on the mastermind group. Fully, completely, you have to surround yourself with the right people who will push you. So when you feel like you've got fears, actually they will push you to go out of your comfort zone, right? So having the right people around you, completely full on with that. What you've said about children in their upbringing, I don't think that's not related to any individual culture. You'll find that across the board, that the general rule is go to school, get an education, go to university, get a degree, get a safe job, get a mortgage, settle down with a family, get to 70, look back, you live the same life as 90% of the population, right? The difference is, and what you've said about, it's kind of that being able to be able to break the rules and to be a bit of a maverick and say, well, do you know what, actually, where I'm going to, I don't need to follow that. And you may find that the parents actually still want to push people down that route, but they just maintain such a belief. So they set out their dream and they maintain such a belief in themselves that they will just go for it. And they'll be ready to break the rules and say, do you know what, I don't need to follow this degree and the rest of the route. And that's what you'll find with most of the people who have been successful in the past, right? They tended to actually say, this route doesn't work for me. They dropped out of that mainstream route, and the hours and years combined.
You can name them Steve Jobs. You can name Bill Gates. Dropped out. You can name all of them. These people, they had a set path. They said the path's not working for me. And they went through their own path. And those people, they make things happen in this world. You can either be the people that like just go and have a safe life, or you can actually make a difference and make things happen. So I think self-belief is key. And having good people around you. If you have, I have a university group of friends that they're always pushing, and they always push me out of my comfort zone because they're always going to the next level, and I'm always like, it's like I'm always playing catch up with them because of they're always pushing, and those people help me push through and help me go past my fears. Because a lot of times I am fearful because I think maybe I can't do this. They all come to me. They'll come back to me. They'll try me and say, no, you can do it. Or why can't you do it? Why is he better than you? And it's having that belief and having those people around you.
But this is what I said when it touches on, right? Everything that goes on out there. So you look at your Mark Zuckerberg as well, just Steve Jobs, right? They were just individuals who knew exactly what they wanted and pursued it relentlessly. And I just want to really touch on that point that you just need to be able to say, I'm ready to break from the norm. I'm ready to break the rules. Because if you follow the same rules as everybody else, then you end up boxed in by the same constraints, right? So you just need to be ready to say, I'm going to think outside of that. And when it comes to planning for your future and things like, the sports one is an interesting one, right? Because it's one of those, and I actually think it's, if you put in the work and the hours, then you can really make it. I think the difficulty for people bringing up somebody when it comes to a sport is, you have this, and I was talking to somebody about it the other day. He was, so I was at a rugby match yesterday, and I was talking to somebody about it, and he's got a child who plays cricket, and he's like 12, and he played in the test series at like half time when they do it. He had a couple of sixes. He was telling me some of the time that he's got, and he's like, yeah, he's putting the time he's got there over like the last 3 years. He only started at 9, and I said, well, the thing is the difficult period is when it gets to your 15, 16-year-old point of view, right? Because that's when you need to be able to say, well, actually, my dream is worth more than going out and partying on the weekend with my friends when I'm getting into that. So the sports one's an interesting one, and I think that's why parents, when they're bringing them up, they're like, I don't know, you need to have it. Yes, you do have to have a backup route, but at the same time, you need to gauge and just how determined is your son or daughter to make it in a certain pursuit. So again, that's a slightly specific kind of topic and endeavour there. But for me, it's just those 3 points. Just dream big, right? Because it's just, life's too short not to.
Yeah.
Pursue those dreams, as in whatever your fears are, start to take action. Don't paralyse yourself by trying to analyse everything that could go wrong. Accept you're going to face failure on the way, and every time you trip up, you get even better at getting back up. And you fail, but you fail faster, you learn more, you get quicker, right? And you get better, and you just, eventually you're getting towards the point where you're like, actually, do you know what? My dream might actually happen.
You have to be selfish with your dream as well. Like your dream takes precedent over other things, outside interferences. So you have to be focused. When I say tunnel vision, in the sense that when your friends say, "Oh, let's go out to party," you have to say, "No, my dream's more important."
Well, yeah,
I have to walk.
100%, because that's a tricky one. That's where you also need a support group around you to understand that, okay, this person, or my friend, or my husband, or my boyfriend, whoever it may be, he's got a big dream. We need to support him, because my wife supports me in what I do, and I support her in what she does. And sometimes when you're dreaming big, you need to, like what you're saying, you can't do what everybody else is doing. You have to break away from that, and you have to do something different. And a lot of the time it's hard work, and it's saying no to, I'm not going to go out here. No, I'm not going to be able to go this place. We can't go out to dinner, or we can't do this. And you start to spend less time with family, you start to spend less time with friends, and these are the sort of things that you need to do if you want to make your big dream a reality, I think.
So I think it's interesting the word that you use there. Do you have to be selfish? So in responding to that, you've kind of touched on two different things. So that part for me, what you've just gone through there, and ignoring going out there, that's the discipline and dedication, right?
Yeah.
Do you have to be selfish is interesting, because it's like a blanket word, and if I'm going to give a straight answer, I'm going to say yes. You have to be selfish. But I don't want, and the thing is, and the reason I need to give a backup response to that is because I don't want that to come across and say, you need to be selfish in about, it's all about you. That's not what you're saying, because in as much as whatever your endeavour is...
Well, it is all about you, no?
Well, no. See, this is why it's an interesting point that you need to underpin. Because it's not all about me. I have a dream, and I know where I want to get to. Do you need to be selfish? I need to be selfish in as much as I need to block out the noise and the distractions and focus on the essential points to get me there. Do I have to be a selfish individual throughout my pursuit? No, because I have a genuine feeling in the world that the people who get the most success are the people who understand the importance of being able to give to others. So whatever your endeavour is, whether you're in a technology environment and you're like a Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, right? Whatever you're doing something to give back to people in society. Whether you're a person in service, then if you are the best at giving a service to people, then you will be the best in that industry. If you are a speaker or anything that you deliver, the more you give, the more successful you'll be. So in the end goal, your output is not to be selfish. But you do have to be selfish to a degree in how you spend your time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because, the end goal is not to be selfish. What you're doing is positive and you want to give, but you've got to be selfish in going for it, you've got to block out some things, and that's for me. That's definitely being
Well,
selfish.
yeah, but I just feel you can't put a blanket brand on it. I think you have to be selfish on how you allocate your time and your
How you
focus.
pursue,
But
I agree
when
with
somebody
that.
says, "Do you have to be a selfish individual?" The problem is people will look at it and go, "Oh, well, that person's just selfish." I don't like that.
Yeah.
So that's why and again, because when I've said it to you, you're like, "Well, hold on." you have to be. You do have to be selfish. I'm like, no. There's an underlying piece there, and I think it comes. There are a few things that complement each other. So when you've got your big dream, and when it's a good link between the two, talking about selfish, because you have a degree. It falls down to a degree of your self-belief, right?
Self-belief, yeah.
So do you have the belief in yourself to say that I'm going to pursue this relentlessly, whatever the weather, and that is just an absolutely essential trait. If you're going to dream big, then you better have some strong self-belief in yourself that you're going to make it, because you're going to have to overcome that fear.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be aware that there's challenges, but know that come hell or high water, you can beat those. And you have to be prepared to say to somebody, well, do you know what? This is my dream. And Leon, you turn around to me and you say, that's ridiculous. You can't do that.
Exactly.
Do you know what? I don't care. I don't even care. I don't need you to believe in my dream, because I believe in my dream and I believe in me, right? And that is an essential core before you even get started. A lot of the stuff we've gone over today in the last few weeks, essentials that you have to have at the start. And if you're not going to have self-belief, then that first roadblock you hit, you're going to go, yeah, I'm not good enough for this, and you just stop and give up, right?
Well, I'm going to touch on self-belief. One person I think who has tremendous self-belief is actually Chip. Yeah. Personally, I think, and when Chip.
Rapper.
Yeah, but you need to
go
into that. For some people,
okay. Chip's a UK artist, formerly known as Chipmunk. He just won best grime artist. Was it grime artist? At the Mobos. And for some people, I'm not going to really get into his journey as such, but he's had to overcome a lot. A lot of people saying to him that you're not a grime artist anymore because he went to pop back in the day, and really a lot of people trying to shut him down. And he's just had tremendous self-belief that I'm good at what I do, I've got talent, and he's just kept going, kept releasing content after content after content.
I would say that he has great single-mindedness.
Yeah.
He's very single-minded in the sense that he no one can detract him from his own self-belief. Yeah. And the number one artist that does that is Kanye West. So if we said that who's the most single-minded artist and who has the most self-belief in himself, it's Kanye West, because he projects it all the time. I'm great, I'm Steve Jobs, I'm Picasso. It's having that self-belief, don't be an idiot like Kanye West and but you have to have that kind of self-belief in yourself to get to be successful. You have to have that that unnerving self-belief that when you do hit a stumble block, you go, well, right, stop. What can I learn from this failure, and how will this help me carry on to pursue my dream?
Yeah.
You can't just go, I failed, I can't do this. You have to say, no, I made a mistake. I can learn from this. I'm gonna carry on.
Is there a thin line though between self-belief and being arrogant?
Yes, there is. Wait, but I think there is a thin line between that. But Steve Jobs.
I don't think there is.
No, I don't think there is.
I think there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance. Okay, there's not a thin line between self-belief and arrogance, because self-belief is the underpinning principle, right? You manifest it in two ways. You manifest your self-belief in a confident outlook and projection, or in an arrogant one. So is there a thin line between confidence and arrogance? Completely. But they're both underpinned by the same thing. The person has full self-belief in themselves. Whether they put that out there in a way that is arrogant is one thing. If they do it in a more humble way, then it comes across as confidence, okay? So there's a thin line between those two, but there's not a thin line for me between self-belief. That is the underpinning core. It's just the way that you manifest that out in the background, is my view.
Yeah. Well, we know that you need self-belief. We know that you need to dream big. There are things that could harm that though, isn't it? Things that could stop you, and like you touched on it before about failure. Yeah. I think how do people overcome that hurdle when they fail to still have that self-belief?
Sorry, go on. Alright, so I failed. Okay, I just qualified this year and chartered accountant. I failed my exams so many times, and it's not a proud thing to say I failed my exams, you should be trying to pass the first time. But I failed my exams so many times. But what kept me focused was actually the dream of, I'm actually passing this. I want to be a qualified accountant.
Yeah.
The people that do the same job as me, even though they're qualified, they can't do it as well as I can. So I know that the only thing stopping me is my attitude to examinations. So what kept me focused on every time I failed is that I know in myself that I'm better than this.
Yeah.
And I know that I can achieve this dream. The only thing stopping me is myself. So it was that every time I failed, I thought, I'm not giving up. I don't give up. I don't fail. If I fail, everyone fails. But if I fail, I don't give up. I said it before, I failed my driving test loads of times.
Yeah.
I failed my accountancy loads of times. What keeps me going is that I have the self-belief that I know that I can do this. It's just that, right, and I always go back to say, what can I learn from this? Where did I make mistakes? And it actually made me a better accountant.
Yeah.
Actually made me a better driver, because the things that I learned when I failed my test, I've taken into my driving, and I think I'm a better driver for it. So every time I've failed something, I've actually gone on and learned and been better for the failure. I'm not saying that you should go out your way and try and fail, but I'm saying that when you do fail, as long as you learn from it and then you can progress, I think that's it's key.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask the question, because I think it's important for people watching and listening to hear that if you fail, you just need to have that self-belief that you can achieve, and then you'll just keep going for it.
So I love it because so I touched on it before. When I grew up, I lacked confidence in growing up, and then something switched. I called it like Ben. So I had like Ben 1.0, like nervous and everybody takes the mick out of and no confidence. Then I had Ben 2.0, who was like forget the world, and then I went to the other end of the spectrum. Then I had like Ben 3.0 where I started to pick up. I'm on like Ben 10 by now or something, right? But when I left school, I'll be honest, I went into sixth form, just went there because I was like, what am I going to do when I'm doing it? So I ended up at sixth form. I did IT as one of the things. I didn't grade in IT. 6 months later, I went and got a job in IT, right? I was in IT and they were like, yeah, you need to, everybody's around me, yeah, you should go and do these courses. Do you know what? I went and done a course. So I went and done a Microsoft course. I went and done the exam. In the exam, it asked me questions that I answered in the way that I would do it because it's the most efficient way to do it. I failed because I didn't do it the way that Microsoft wanted to do it. Do you know what? I never went back and did that exam. Now, that sounds like me going against, yeah, you don't need to go because you've gone and done the qualification route, right? And that's all cool. But my thing was, do you know what? Actually, I've got the belief that I know what I'm doing. I don't need an endorsement to do it. Not going back. That was it. Spent time doing a course. Never went back and actually got the qualification for it. Right. Went into the next thing. I was speaking to a guy a couple of years ago, and I was talking about something. And I said, no, I haven't. I said, believe it or not, I haven't got any qualifications. And he was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, actually, he went, yeah, I started off the same. Like, I started to get them as I went into my profession. I was like, no, dude, you're not listening to me. I don't have a single qualification in my name. He's like, well, how did you get to where you are? I'm like, I said, honestly, I'm good at what I do. Like, and I don't want it to come across in an arrogant manner because it's not. But it's one of those that goes back to, are you willing to break rules? Because I'm not going to be I know people who will go and say, right, I need to go and get the book smarts. I need to go and get the book smarts to prove I can do it because I know I can do it. Yeah. You put me in a situation, you come out the other end of it, the review is going to be, damn, this guy's good. Like, and there was one, I think I went on a workshop before, and one of the things was we did an interview at the end. As I've never really had an interview. Whenever I've got a job, someone's offered me the job and I've not really done an interview. So I did this and somebody was like, yeah, but you could do a bit better at selling yourself. And everybody looked in the room. They look at me like this. I'm like, it's right. They're like, you weren't able to sell yourself. You of all the people who displayed it. So again, it's that. So you've got that self-belief, right? And I think it underpins that you have. It helps you to pursue on and stay dedicated. But I think at the same time, right, you have a responsibility to be, so your ability to have self-belief, actually, you may not realise it, but it actually rubs off and inspires the people around you. So as you start to believe in yourself and pursue forwards towards dreams, people start to look at it and go, well, actually, I'm inspired by that person. And yes, we've got big people who motivate us, like out there, the big successes of the world. But never underestimate how the people close to you can actually see you as motivation and inspiration to drive them forwards.
Also, I think people shouldn't be afraid to tell people their journey, because of, like, when you hear people's journeys, it actually fills you self-belief. Like what you were saying before, like as I've learned more about you, I get more inspired by you, because at first I thought this guy's not really human. He does his early morning start and stuff. But when you understand where he's come from, and then you understand how he's overcome, same way with me, then it doesn't seem as hard, and it feels more human. It feels like you can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. He's more human. When people people see the successes, they go, oh, he's really successful, he's really intelligent, but they don't actually see the pitfalls and they see the failures. When they see the failures, they think, oh, I can do this. He's failed as well, so if he can fail, I can fail, and I can learn from it, and I can actually achieve my dreams. When you see people that are always succeeding, and you don't know how they failed, that's when you think, I can't do this because it's too big. But when you hear other people's stories, and when I hear my friends' stories of how they failed or what they've done to overcome things, it makes me feel like, yeah, I can do this, I can achieve it. So never be afraid to share your failures, because it's not embarrassing. What you usually find, people go, wow, you failed, you're here. I can do this, because a lot of times people always think, if I fail, I should hide it away. But not, if you fail, you share your failures, and people get it makes people feel that they can actually do it, and it heartens them. So.
Well, I think now with social media, you probably see a lot of people's failures more than we would have done before, because it's highlighted on social media.
So I'm not, you do and you don't, right? I think between the mix of your dream and your belief, whether I put it out there or not, I might put it in social media, I might not. I think between the two of them, that's what gives you. It's funny what you've touched on there about the non-human stuff. But so I'll talk somewhere like, I'll be like, I spoke to a guy the other day. I was like, you look tired. He's like, yeah, I've been up since 7 o'clock and I've been uni. I said, dude, I've been up since 4 o'clock. I've run 16 miles and I've got work to do tonight. Come to me about your tired with 7 o'clock. But the dream and the self-belief will pursue you, so they will drive you. So when I talk to somebody, why did you go up at 4 o'clock? What time did you go to bed? Probably about half 11, 12, depends how much work I've got on. Why do you do that for? Why do you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning? Because my dream is bigger than me just sitting around wasting time watching TV, right? But when you've got the dream mixed with the self-belief, it will allow you to do that, to stay up late, to wake up early. So I think it's just, as long as you take away from this, the essentials of don't be afraid to dream big, don't be afraid to fail along the way. And then once you set off on a path, have that unwavering self-belief that will drive you past any criticism, any challenges that you face, you know you can overcome them. Anytime you fail, like I say, you fail, but you start to fail faster, you start to fail forwards, as they put it, right? I think as long as you can take away from this, that, and if you're struggling with either of those at the moment, if this just gives you that bit of a jolt in the background to say, actually, maybe my dream isn't big enough, it doesn't scare me, let me reroute back. Or, I've got a big dream and actually, let me have the self-belief to go on. I think that's the core of what we're trying to get across there.
Brilliant stuff.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's the end of this show. Episode 3 has been really good. I really enjoyed it.
I enjoy every show, man. I'll be honest.
Guys, so thanks for watching and listening on SoundCloud. Yeah, you can find us on SoundCloud at Lifessa. You can find us on YouTube at Lifessa. You can find us on Facebook at Life Essential Advice. And you can find us on Instagram on Lifessa.
And you'll be finding us more and more, man. It's going to be spreading. I'm looking to dominate. This is where we're going. Dream big.
Alright guys, episode 3 done.